welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today, together live, we are applying for a U.S. passport together. First of all, we're going to head over to this travel.state.gov website. That's travel.state.gov. Let's get into it. I'm throwing up the website here so you all can have that. And we're going right over to the site and we're going to go through the application together. This is going to be cool, y'all. What I'm tired of this year, and I'm stressing this, we need to get passports. This not having passport thing is old. It's time to do something different. So we're popping right into it. Let's do it together. Okay, I hope y'all can see this. We're at the travel.state.gov website. And y'all, I should have my glasses on. So if you see me periodically reading with my glasses, I'm going to help y'all through it though. It doesn't matter. Let's get into it. Let's go. So first thing first, we're going to talk today specifically about applying as an adult. I have several videos coming about different things in the passport world, but today we're applying as an adult. Once you reach this website, you're going to click on I'm an adult. Click there, and you should see the next page. I'm trying to make sure we all see this. Okay, let's go into it together. So it says apply in person. Apply in person using form DS11 if you respond yes to at least one of the following statements. Now, the form numbers and letters is just a way of the government's way of organizing their forms, okay, online, okay, and a way to reference back to a specific form. But for the U.S. passport, what we need to note is if you say yes to one of the following statements, this is the form you need to be on in order to complete the U.S. passport application. So let's go. Number one, I'm applying for my first U.S. passport, or I'm applying with my child who is under the age of 16. We're going to pause briefly right there. This video is not for children's passport. We're going to do that on another video, so check that out later. Going on, my previous U.S. passport was issued when I was under the age of 16. So what that's saying is I'm an adult. I had a passport back in the day when I was under 16, okay? Or my previous U.S. passport was lost, stolen, or damaged. Y'all know what that means. Or my previous U.S. passport was issued more than 15 years ago. So more than likely it's expired. So again, I'm applying for the first time. I'm applying with a child who's under the age of 16. My previous U.S. passport was issued when I was a child. My previous U.S. passport was lost, stolen, or damaged. Or my previous passport was issued more than 15 years ago, okay? If that you respond to yes to one of the following, we're going on to form DS11. Today, we're going through form DS11. Now, I have to make sure y'all see everything I'm talking about, so you'll see me go back and forth, and I'll slow down the pace just a little bit just to make sure we're on the right page. Let's go on. So, we're going to the application informational sheet. Now, these are what I like to call instructions to the application. I'm going to go through the instructions with you because before we get to the actual application, there's things you need to know. So let's get into it. Application for U.S. passport is what you see. You'll see me circling or around the forms if you watch my cursor. This form is used to apply for the U.S. passport book or card in person at an acceptance facility or a passport agency by appointment only, or a U.S. embassy, a consulate, or a consular agency. We're going to talk more about what all that means. The U.S. passport is a travel document attesting to one's identity and issued to U.S. citizens or non-U.S. citizen nationals, okay? To be eligible to use this form, you must apply in person. If at least one of the following is true, we discussed what the truths were. this is my first passport. I'm under the age of 16. My previous passport was either I was under the age of 16 or it was lost, stolen, or damaged. Moving on. Okay. If for whatever reason, if none of those circumstances apply to you, there's another form you need to head to. It's the DS-82 or the DS-5504, depending on your circumstance. Remember, visit travel.state.gov for more information. I'm going to put that up here. Travel.state.gov is listed there. Let's go back to the application instructions. Okay. So we're going to go on to section B because the remainder of section A is about if you're underage. Okay. Section B, steps to apply for your U.S. passport. These are steps. There's no way around them, you guys. Unless you watch my other video on how to get a passport in one day, I will link it in the description box, and I will also end this video with that helpful information. But if you need to apply in person, these are the only things you have to have, must have. Don't go any further if you don't have these things, but I'm going to explain everything in detail. So let's go. And number one, you need to complete this form. You have to complete the application. We're still on the informational instructions or the instructions to the form. We're going to get into the form in just a minute. Okay. You want to do not sign this form. Do not sign this form. Do not sign this form until you're at the application location in front of a representative. They'll tell you when to sign it. Complete this form, the application, and don't sign it. Number two, attach one color photograph, 2 by 2 inches, okay, in size with your supporting documents. These are your proofs, I like to say. Okay, so you're attaching one photograph to the application itself, and you're adding your supporting documents. Okay, number 3, you're going to schedule an appointment to apply in person by visiting the website that's listed here. Okay, and or by calling NPIC, which is a passport agency. Okay. Number 4, you're going to arrive to your appointments and present your completed form with your picture attached, with your attachments to the authorized agent who will administer your oath, witnessing you sign your form, and they will collect your passport fees. Okay. Number 5, you're going to track your application status online at passportstatus.state.gov. Okay. Number 6, you'll receive your new passport and original supporting documents that you completed, you used to submit with your application. Okay. So moving on, how to complete this form. This section is very important. I want you all to know we got to quit giving the passport administration half documents. Okay. We need to have everything completed, nice and neat for them to make this process easier for everyone. I want to help everyone in 2023 gain the passport they want to have. So let's get into it. Number 1, on line 1 of your passport application form, you need to enter your last name, your first name, and your middle name. Okay. You must enter it in the way you want it to appear on the passport. The name that you allow or add to this line has to be consistent with your proof of citizenship and your ID. If you change your name, you are not eligible to use a DS-82 form or DS-5504 form. You must use this form. Okay. If you need more name change information, you're going to visit the travel.state.gov/name change for that information. Number 2, date of birth. We want to use the following format, you guys. Your month, your date, your full year. Okay, don't create DEC for December. We want 12 for December with a date of birth and your full year, not 2 digits, 4. Okay. Number 3, your gender. This is important. The gender markers used are male, M, and F for female, and X for unspecified or another gender identity, which is fine. The gender marker that you check on this form will appear in your passport regardless of the gender marker on your previous passport or your supporting evidence or citizenship of identity. That basically says if your birth certificate has you as female and you are male, on your passport, you are male. Okay. If changing your gender marker from what is printed on your previous passport, select yes in this field on the application. And I'm going to show you how this works. If no gender marker is selected, we may print the gender as listed on your supporting evidence. All they're basically saying is whatever gender you want to be on your passport, please mark that correctly on your passport application. Also, please note, the Passport Administration, cannot guarantee that other countries you visit or travel through will recognize the gender marker on your passport. This is a U.S. passport. No other country has to recognize the information that we place on our passport. Okay. Number 4, place of birth. You need to know where you're born. Okay. Enter the name of the city and state in the U.S. that you were born in. If you were born in a different country, you're going to enter the city and country as presently known. That basically means if you're from a country or you were born in a country that had an old name and the name changed to a new name, don't use the old name, use the present name. Okay? Perfect. Number 5, social security number. You must provide your social security number on this passport application. If you have been issued one in accordance with the IRS and the Social Security Administration, you must enter it on this form. If you do not have a social security number, you must enter all zeros in number 5 on the application. All zeros. Okay. And then you have to add to your list of documents. You have to submit a statement signed and dated that includes the phrase, I declare under penalty of perjury under the law of the United States of America that the following is true and correct. I have never received a social security number by the Social Security Administration. If you reside abroad, you must also provide the name of the foreign country where you reside. Okay. The U.S. Department of State must provide your social security number and foreign residence information to the U.S. Department of Treasury. Okay. Number 6, by providing your email, you're consenting to correspondence from the Passport Administration in regards to your passport. This needs to be a great email, one that you frequent often, one that you check the spam, make sure you're not missing anything when it comes to your passport. Primary phone number, primary contact phone number. If you're providing a mobile cell number and you are consenting to receiving calls from the Passport Administration regarding your passport. Let's pause right there. Please, 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 let's do our due diligence and always share good information with the Passport Administration. You guys, they are completely backlogged. And some of the backlog has to do with just lower personnel numbers. So some of the backlog has to do with messy, sloppy applications. That's why we're going through this together, to make sure that you get an acceptance your first time around and there's no delays with getting your passport. Okay. Number 8, you have to add a mailing address on line 1 and 2 of your passport application. Okay, this is how you do it. For line 1, we're going to go through this again on the application. This is just the application's instructions. So you're going to enter your street address, your the street numbers, the street address, and the remaining of your address. If you do not live at the address listed in this field, you're going to put the name of the person who lives at this address and mark in care of. I'll show you exactly what I mean. This is not a biggie. If the applicant is a minor child, you must include in care of name, or the parent or guardian registered to receive mail at this address. Again, we're going to discuss a child's passport in another separate video. Okay. Number 9, list all other names you have ever used. These are legal names, maiden names, name changes, previous married names, all of them. You can enter up to 2 on this form. If you need more space, you'll have to add a sheet with the others. Okay. And then we're going into section number D, or section letter D. Attachments to submit with this form. This is very important as well. We need proof of citizenship, okay? If you were born in the United States, your evidence will be returned to you if it's not damaged, altered, or forged, okay? If you send them something damaged, altered, or forged, they're going to keep it. Don't send damaged, altered, or forged information, okay? You're going to submit an original copy, and a photocopy of the front and back. Submit an original copy and a photocopy of the front and back if there's printed information on the back. So you're going to send your original birth certificate and a photocopy of your license, because you can't send them your driver's license. Do y'all understand? Got it. Okay. So if you're born in the United States, you need an original birth certificate. It has to have a couple key components on it. It has to be issued in the city, county, and state of your birth. It has to list your full name, your birthday, your birthplace, your parents' name, your date, the date it was filed in the registrar's office, and it also has to show a signature of the registrar. Okay? That's one form of proof of citizenship. Okay, U.S. birth certificate. Another proof of U.S. citizenship would be a fully valid, undamaged U.S. passport that can be expired. Okay, y'all? We're here on the form. Okay. The third proof of U.S. citizenship would be your consular report of birth abroad or certification of birth abroad. The fourth proof of citizenship would be certificate of naturalization or citizenship. Okay. There are also some secondary documents, if you don't have those 4, that can be useful. I'll circle those here and you can view those in your own free time. On the other side of the page, on the right side, is applicants born outside the United States. It says, if we determine that you are a U.S. citizen, your lawful permanent resident card submitted with this application will be forwarded to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. And those are the points with the black dots on the side. So claiming citizenship through naturalization of one or both of your parents, claiming citizenship through birth abroad, or at least one U.S. citizen parent, or claiming citizenship through adoption by U.S. citizen parents, okay? Moving on. Number 2, proof of identity, okay? Your proof of identity, it would be one of the following: driver's license, previous or current U.S. passport book or card, military ID, federal, state, and city government employee identification, or your certificate of naturalization or citizenship. Okay, those are your proof of identity. Number 3, you need a recent color photograph. Okay. I know we live in a selfie world, but listen closely. Attach one photo, 2 by 2 inches in size. U.S. photo passport requirements may differ from photo requirements in other countries. Just note that. To avoid any processing delays, be sure your photo meets all of the following requirements that I'm going to share. The photo has to be taken within the last 6 months. Your head must be in the photo. Top of your head, below your chin. See that? Head must Face the camera directly with full face view. None of that. Facing the camera. No eyeglasses or head coverings. Now, head coverings are acceptable when you submit a signed statement verifying that it's part of a recognized traditional religious attire or part of medical purposes. Okay. Otherwise, no head covering, no eyeglasses, and no uniforms. If you're a police officer, you cannot wear your uniform. If you're a fire department official, you cannot wear your uniform. If you're a doctor, you cannot wear your scrub lab coat. Okay. You need to have on everyday, daily wear clothes. Okay. No, you want to print these. The photo needs to be printed on matte or glossy photo paper quality. Okay. There are photo agencies that will take your photo for a passport. You will Google that in your area. They know the specifications that are required. And you must always use a plain white or off-white background. Okay. For glasses and other eyewear, they're not acceptable unless you submit a signed statement from your doctor explaining why you cannot remove them for the photo. Remember, photos are to be taken in clothing normally worn on a daily basis. You cannot wear uniforms or camouflage. You cannot wear camouflage. No camo, no pretend camo, no army fatigue, however you want to call it, can't wear it, okay? It is against the rule. It's the biggest way to waste your time and your opportunity to get a passport. Okay, moving on. Number 4, proof of parental relationship. This is for applicants under the age of 16. I'm going to skip this because we're not discussing that in this video. Okay. Number 5, fees. Bring your money. Bring your money. It's very simple. Passport fees are established by law and are collected at the time you apply for your passport. If you don't bring money, you're not getting a passport. I'll be very honest with you. Passport fees are always non-refundable for good reasons. More information about passport fees, you're going to use this site, travel.state.gov/passport fees for current fees and how fees are used and processed. Payment methods are as follows. Now, if you're applying at an acceptance facility, you can cover your passport fees with a personal certified cashier's check, a traveler's check, and a money order, as long as they're made out to the U.S. Department of State with your full name and your date of birth on them. There is an execution fee within the processing fee of the passport that must be paid separately. That's normally paid directly to the acceptance facility. Okay. If you're applying for the passport at a passport agency or you're outside of the United States, you can use a personal check, a certified check, cashier's check, a traveler's check, or major credit cards and a money order. Or exact cash. You can bring exact cash if you're applying at a passport agency. No change will be provided. Okay. Make all fees payable to the U.S. Department of State. And if you're applying outside of the United States, please see the website for your embassy, consulate, or consular agency for acceptable payment methods. We're moving on. Other services requiring additional fees. So there are some other services you can add to your regular passport. You can have the passport expedited. You can do a 1 or 2 day delivery. You can require a verification of a previous U.S. passport, or you can have a special insurance passport or issuance passport. I'm sorry about that. Y'all, you know we're live. We don't cut up any videos. We don't try to make them perfect. I want to get you the information and get you started to being able to travel the world. So excuse my hiccups. Moving on. If you want to expedite your passports, passport expedition service is only available for passports mailed in the United States or Canada. If you want a 1 to 2 day delivery to your passport, They're only available to your passport book and not cards mailing in the US. There's an additional fee for both of these. If you want verification of a previous US passport or consular records of any birth abroad, you have to pay additional for that as well. And if you want a special issuance passport, there's an additional fee for that. Okay. Refer back to passport fees for that general information. Section E, how to submit this form. Submitting this form depends on your location and how soon you need your passport. Applicants located inside the United States, you're going to go for processing times, scheduling appointments, and nearest destinations. For acceptance of the passport applications, you're going to go to travel.state.gov, okay? Applicants located outside the United States, we've said this before, you're going to go to your U.S. Embassy, your consulate, for all passport services, okay? Section F, big deal here. I need to explain to you all the difference between a U.S. passport book and a card, and then I have some great advice. The difference between a passport book is a passport book is valid for international travel by air, land, and sea. A passport card is not valid for international air travel, only for entry at land border crossing and seaports when you travel from Canada, Mexico, Bermuda, and the Caribbean. Pause. What that all means is with your passport book, you can fly to any destination. With your passport card, you can leave the country, but you can only go to Canada, Mexico, Bermuda, and the Caribbean by boat or walking. So my advice to you today is to negate the passport card, get your passport book. You have more options and mobility, okay? The maximum number of letters provided for your name is 24 characters. So that basically means as you're completing your passport information, your name information, if your first name and middle name go outside of the 24 letters, you have to shorten your name. Okay. Sorry, not my rule. Separate mailings. What this is saying is that you may receive your new U.S. passport book and a card in your citizenship evidence in 2 separate mailings. I'm not going to go through all of this. This is what I want to say. When you get your passport, you have 1 envelope. Okay. You'll go to the mail. You'll have an envelope with your passport inside. The second envelope you'll receive, or maybe even the first, vice versa, will be your documents that you've provided to the U.S. passport agency. Okay. If you got a passport card, you'll receive another envelope. So what this statement is saying is that you receive 3 envelopes with 3 bits of information if you order a passport card and a passport book. So that would be a passport card, a passport book, and all of your documents returned to you. Okay. Again, all documentary evidence that's not damaged, altered, or forged will be returned. Photocopies will not be returned. So when you make that photocopy of your driver's license, that will not be returned. Only your original documents will be returned. Passport numbers. If you previously had a passport book or card, you will have different numbers on this passport. Every application you do will have different numbers unless you're doing a renewal. We're going to discuss renewals in another video, so check that one out. Shipping and delivery changes. If for whatever reason your mailing address changes prior to you getting your new passport, please contact the passport agency or the passport NPIC, which is passport agency. Contact them because they will not mail U.S. passport to a private address outside of the United States or Canada. Or in addition, they will not mail a U.S. passport to a private address outside of the United States or Canada. It's just unsafe to do so. So if for whatever reason your address changes, that's point number one, you want to contact them. And point number two, they will not mail a U.S. passport to a private address outside of the United States or Canada. Moving on. For passport corrections or non-receipt, undeliverable passports, and lost and stolen passports, you want to visit travel.state.gov for that information. I do have that covered in another video, so please like, share, and subscribe. Turn your post notifications on so you'll know when that video drops. Okay. Application. We're rounding this out, y'all. Y'all are doing so well. I know you want this passport, and I'm explaining this like no one has ever before. I want to make sure you get your passport. I'm going to help somebody today. Okay. U.S. Department of State application for U.S. passport. We want to just note a couple of things. This is a warning. There are acts of conditions and Privacy Act statement. The warning is don't put anything false on the passport. Don't put any lies. If you don't know the truth, leave it blank. Worst case scenario, don't lie. Okay. Lies, misuse, face imprisonment under the provisions of 18 USC 1543. The use of a passport is a violation of restrictions contained herein, and passport regulations is punishable by fine or imprisonment. All statements and documents are subject to verification. Don't lie, okay? When you fail to provide information requested on this form, including your social security number, that may result in significant processing delays and the denial of your application. Please do not skip too much. If you skip something, ask the representative immediately, how would you go forward? They're not allowed to give you answers, only guidance, the same thing I'm providing here. And we're going to go through the form in just a few minutes so you hang a little tighter, but try your best not to make up things just to complete the form. Do not do that, okay? We're not doing that. Acts or conditions. This is very important to note. It's basically stating this. If you've never been convicted of a federal or state drug offense or convicted of a statutory sex tourism crime, and you're not subject of outstanding federal, state, or local warrants of arrest for a felony, a criminal court order forbidding your departure from the United States, or a subpoena received from the U.S. in a matter involving federal prosecution or grand jury investigation or felony. So you're attesting when you complete your passport application, if you did not provide more supplemental information that you under oath have not participated in any kind of offense or crime, investigation, warrant arrest, or detained to the United States, you're confessing that, yes, I can get a passport. Now, what I'm going to say is this. If any of the below mentioned acts and conditions have been performed by or apply to you, the applicant, a supplemental explanation statement under oath by the applicant should be attached and made a part of this application. I'm not saying you cannot get a passport. You just have to explain on a sheet of paper what the scenario is. The representatives at the U.S. passport agencies or the processing agencies can help you further, but definitely tell them what's going on in an active investigation or if you've been convicted of any of those things mentioned below, okay? And if you need more information on that, you're welcome to drop your comment in the comment section, or you may hit my link tree and ask me directly if you want a little bit more privacy, and I can help you with that. But you do need to know that if that's the case, you must provide supplementary explanatory statements under oath or affirmation, and it must be part of this application. Moving on, Privacy Act, you'll read that on your own. Paperwork Reduction Act statement, you'll read that on your own as well. let's get into the actual application. We've made it here. This is the application. I'm going to go through here quickly, but I want you to note key things. Let's go. Select the document for which you are submitting your fees. Remember, the passport book gives you more leverage. You can fly internationally where you want to go. The passport card, you're subject to your movement internationally only being by boat or by feet, your foot. You can walk into the country or you can drive into the country, okay? Or you're applying for both. I will be very honest and tell you the whole pivot is getting the passport book. You do not need a passport card. And if you did, what for? Many years ago, I got a passport card because passport cards were quicker to get than the actual passport book. And I had a pending trip. It was by cruise, so it made sense. But after I returned and I wanted to travel internationally by air, my passport card was ineffective for that. So instead of going back and forth and switching, this is 10 years worth of travel. So you want the passport book, okay? And it states that U.S. passport card is not valid for international air travel, okay? We talked about that already. Okay, do I want the regular book, which is standard, or the large book that is non-standard? The regular book, y'all, remember this book lasts for 10 years, and the card as well, but the regular book has 28 pages. The large one has 52. The entire pivot, you want the 52-page book. And this is the cheat code, y'all. There's zero charge for the difference in the books. Even though you're getting more pages, the large book, there's no charge for it. So get the large book. Okay, let's go on. Number one, last name. You want to put your last name in capital letters across there. Capital letters. If your name extends that, attach a piece of paper that says number one, name, last, and write out your full last name. Over here, there's nothing for this section, the D, the O, the S, the N, R, N, F, R, N, and X. We're skipping that. The first name, your first name, you know what you are. You know who you are, and you know what your name is. It needs to match your ID and, of course, your birth certificate. So put your first name there, your middle name in the next couple of boxes. Number two, your date of birth. Don't forget, don't create January for JA. We're going to put 01, the way we were taught in grade school. The date of your birth and the year of your birth, the full year. Going on to number three, we're talking about gender. We have M for male, F for female, and X for unidentified. So we're going to check those boxes. It says in small print, changing gender marker. What that basically means is, are you changing it from your last passport? If you don't have a last passport, you don't have a change. So you're going to skip that. Place of birth, very important. Your city and state. If you're in the U.S., put your city there, space, and your state, okay? If you're born in another country, you're going to put the city and country as it's presently known. City, space, country as it's presently known. All that really means is this. If there was a city or country you were born in that has recently changed its name, you're going to put the current name of the location where you live. Okay. Going down to number 5, your social security number. Remember, if you don't have a social security number, you're putting 000000000 in this area. You're attaching your oath, your affirmation that says you have never been given a social security number by the Social Security administration. I'm sorry. Next box, number 6, is a good email address, a very good email address. Number 7 is a good primary contact phone number, you guys. Put in your area code. Number 8, mailing address. We know how this goes. We want the street, the P.O. box. So we're putting in our street, number, space. Then we're putting the street itself, space. And then we're putting boulevard, drive, avenue, street at the end. Address number 2, you're only using if you have an apartment. number. If that is letters and numbers, you put the letters space, the number. If that's numbers and letters, you put the numbers space and letter. Okay. The second reason you would use this box is in care of. That's if number 8 is not your mailing address. And you don't really have ownership there. So you would write, if this is my mother's address, I'm in school at college, I don't want to send it to my college dorm because I'm gone in a couple of months. I would write in space care space of space my mother's name. City. This is the city of the mailing address. We know how to do this. The state, the zip code, the country. Only fill this out if it says if you're outside of the United States. What we have to do and be mindful about, especially when filling out government documents, is only providing what they ask for and only answering the question. If you live in the United States, it says if outside the United States. So that basically means if you're outside the United States, you put that country. Okay. Number 9, very important. We're cooking with Crisco. Almost done, y'all. List all of the other names you have ever used. Very important. Birth name, maiden name, previous marriage, last name change. I was adopted. I legally changed my name. We're going to put both names. If you only have one, go into A. Make sure you put a space between the first and the last name. And B, actually, let me go back on that. All the other names you have used. You can attach additional pages if needed, if you have more than 2 previous names. I'm TamarahTravels, I'm Tamarah Journeys, I'm Tamarah Around the World, I'm Tamarah at Sea, I'm Tamarah Everywhere. Those are quite a few number of names. So I'm going to need another document for that. But what that helps with is process your application. And you want to do whatever you can do to help this process go smoothly. Okay. Stop here. Stop here. Do not write anything under this blue box. Okay. You're going to go over here to this 2x2 that looks like a head and a neck, and you're going to place your passport photo there. You're going to staple where it says staples. That's 1 staple, 2, 3, and 4. You guys, you're going to buy a cheap stapler at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Yes, I know it's $1.25 now. It used to be $1, but they increased their prices. Inflation is real. You're going to put 4 staples on there correctly over that box, not hanging over, not on the stop area, not over your name, not over any identifying document information. You're going to put it in that box. If it doesn't fit, you're going to cut it to size. Okay. If it's too small, we may have a problem. Okay. We're going on further. So we're going to go on to the next page, number 5. It says name of applicant. That's you. Yes, we know we're reiterating this information, but it's a little different this time. Do it anyway. We're trying to get these passports, y'all. We're trying to get this passport. Name of applicant. We want the last name. We want the first name, and we want the middle name with adequate spacing. If you write larger than this box, write smaller, write super neat, get somebody else to write it. You're not signing anything right now. Date of birth here, include your year, people. Parental information. This is for your parents. This is not just if you're under the age of 16. This is your legal birth parents. You can put your mother, your father, your parents' first and middle name at parents' birth in this first box. What I would probably do is start with my mother. She had me. Put my mother's name here, her last name here, my mother's first name, her middle name, and her last name at birth. That would be her maiden name because it says at parents' birth. If this is information you don't know, you need to pick up the phone and call someone. You need to refer back to your birth certificate or your certificate of birth that you have, okay? Date of birth, we're going to fill that in again. This is your parents' date of birth. The next is place of birth. City and state in the U.S. or city and country if as it's presently known. Then the gender of your parents that you listed at the beginning of number 10. Are they a U.S. citizen? Do y'all feel what we're doing? Okay. The next box repeats itself. This is where my father's name goes. His first middle name goes there, his last name. It doesn't matter if he's deceased. It doesn't matter if he's not in my life. If you know his name, put it here. Place of birth, date of birth, his date of birth, his place of birth, the city and state, the city and country, his gender. Is he a citizen? Number 10, have you ever been married? This is you. You're going to answer that question. Yes, no, there's no maybes. If you were married, even if it were annulled, you were married. Okay. If yes, you're going to complete answer onto number 11. Full name of your current spouse or the most recent spouse, last, first, and middle name. Please tell me you know that, or at least remember. Date of birth, their place of birth, if you know. If you do not know, remember, we do not have to lie on this form. We do not know, we will leave blank, okay? We will ask the passport agent when we get to our location. U.S. citizen. If they have a birth certificate and you were married to them, more than likely they're a U.S. citizen. Date of marriage, when did you get married? How have you ever been widowed or divorced? Yes or no? Widow or divorce date. Number 12, additional contact phone number. This is if you have any additional phone numbers that the passport administration can contact you by. And then you're going to tell them what type of number that is. Okay, before we've put in our cell phone, here we're going to put in our office number or our home number, and then we're going to check the box. Okay, number 13, occupation if you're over the age of 16, employer or school if you're over the age, employer or school, period. Okay, number 15, 16, and 17 are important. Your height without heels or boots or apparatuses on. Your height that matches your ID. Put that in number 15. Hair color, number 16, needs to be the hair color you had as a kid. This can get very tricky because some of us are blonde, some of us are auburn, some of us are bald. Some of us wear hair attachments, some of us wear braids, and some of us wear hats 24 hours a day. We still need to know your true hair color, okay? True hair color. Eye color, your true eye color. I do not care that you have been wearing contacts your entire life. Your true eye color needs to go in this blank, okay? Number 18, and further notes, your photo on your passport should kind of look like number 15, 16, and 17, but I digress. And number 18, your travel plans. If you have no immediate travel plans, I'm going to say within the next 3 months, don't list anything here. Skip these boxes. If you have travel plans within the next 3 months, you're going to enter your departure date, your return date, and the countries you will be visiting. This is very important. Number 19, complete if P.O. box is listed under mailing address. So if you above, and when we were putting in our address, you listed a P.O. box, here you have to list your permanent address. Or if your address is different from your mailing address. Before I entered my school address, I'm in college, I'm in another state than my parents, I'm an adult, but I'm going to list my permanent address because my parents haven't moved in the last 27 years, okay? You see the apartment information? Let me back up. Don't put a P.O. box in this area. Do not put a P.O. box in this area. If you've already put a P.O. box in the previous area where we added the address at in the other location on the other sheet, that's fine, but don't put a P.O. box here. Okay, so street address, apartment, city, state, zip, your emergency contact. Provide the information of a person not traveling with you to be contacted in the event of an emergency. Very important. This is a parent, a friend, a spouse, a loved one, someone at work, your manager. You want to just make sure that they know they're on your records as your emergency contact. And if your emergency contact changes often because you change boyfriends a lot, pick your mother or your sister. Hopefully you don't change them as much. I'm kidding. Anyway, put their name, their address, their apartment number, if applicable, if that applies, their city, their state, their zip, their phone number, their relationship to you. Very important. Number 21, have you ever applied for or been issued a U.S. passport book or a passport card? Have you ever applied for or been issued a U.S. passport book or a passport card? Period. Have you ever? Yes or no? If yes, complete number 21. What is the name on your most recent passport book? If you had a passport book before, you're going to put it on line 1. What's your passport book number? Your passport book date, issue date. And then the next line is for your passport card. If you were issued one of those before, put those there. Okay. And status of your most recent passport on both of those, the book or the card. I'm submitting with the application. It's stolen, it's lost, in my possession if it's expired. And then it says, please do not write below this line. For issuing office only, don't go any further. Okay, you guys? So I'm going to stop screen sharing here, and I'm going to get back to full picture. As you can see, there's lots of details on the passport. Okay, so this video only covered the application. We're getting into the next video, the renewal, corrections, and replacement, how you do that. We're going to follow up with a third video on how to find the status of your U.S. passport, and a fourth video on applying for a child's passport. It's going to be fabulous. I have enjoyed this so much. I am glad y'all hung in there with me. I hope you have your questions answered, and this is so much easier for you now. I want to see you in that passport line. I want to see you get stamped up. I have loved every bit of this, and I am on a mission to help others travel the world. If you don't have a cheerleader or a coach in your corner to help you travel the world, even solo, I'm here. I am for you. Traveling is life-changing, and you don't need to be limited anymore by not having a passport. Okay, you guys? So again, to contact me, here's my link tree. You can leave a comment in I'm going to leave some information in the show notes, but you can also leave a comment in the comment section. Be nice to me. I'm on a mission to gain my level of subscribers to 200. If you would love to help me do so, definitely. If not, that's fine as well. Share this video with someone it can help. Remember, knowledge is power. So share, spread the word. And thank you all for watching and hanging in there. I hope I didn't bore you. And I hope your days are filled with stamps and stories. Have happy and safe travels. Bye, y'all.